What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? It is Arso here, and I hope you're having a pretty good day. I for myself am doing pretty good as always, and today's video we're actually going to be talking about Anthem, as it is the sort of big subject of the moment. The game comes out tomorrow as I'm doing this video, so yeah, Anthem is definitely the big game that everybody's talking about right now. There's this big wave of whatever the fuck of hate on the game right now, and I wanted to address that sort of. So I wanted to address first and foremost what is going on as of the hate itself. Why is it going on? Am I approving it or not? And whether I think you should be approving it or not. And I want to hear about you guys in the comment section down below what you think about this whole dilemma and whole subject about Anthem whatsoever. So, basically, first and foremost, Anthem actually is coming out tomorrow, and as many of you guys know, the game has actually had a lot of backlash against it. Numerous people are just saying that either the game feels, empty, the overall looting is just really boring, or it's just not essential, the missions are just redundant, and they're just boring, the shooting mechanics, some people are just criticizing those. I personally will not criticize any of the gameplay elements, but more overall on the what's missing from the game or what's not working, because I do personally believe, having played the beta, that the overall gameplay is really, really good. I'm actually going to do a separate video on talking about The Division, and I felt like The Division gameplay was really more of the same as to where Anthem, it can be like comparable to Destiny, but it's its own thing at the end of the day. And I just feel like, yeah, it's just got so many elements that are directly borrowed from that game or from that universe, but Anthem does not feel 100% like Destiny. It's Anthem, it's a different thing. It's got the same overall RPG looting mechanics, which is why people are just so just making it seem like it's the same thing. But the point I was trying to make is that the overall gameplay to me is really, really good. I enjoyed it so much, and I was actually really surprised on how every classes themselves actually have a really big role to play in every single mission. You will notice if you play either the Javelin or if you play the Colossus, you will notice a big difference in between the way you play, or the amount of health you have, or the amount of damage you actually do to the enemies. So that's really interesting, and overall it just has a really good in-depth gameplay. What I do really reckon that is bad about the game so far, from what I've seen, from what I've played, and from what I've actually been able to experience myself, is the lack of overall, I guess, necessity to play the game, the lack of interest into the game, and that's just first and foremost backed by the lack of content. I feel like, and I have not played the entirety of the game, so I'm saying this right now, you can criticize the hell out of me for saying all of what I'm about to say, but I have not played like the actual full game when it comes out. So, and I do not intend on buying it day one. I actually really wanted to, but from what I've played, I'm actually going to hold on to it. But here's what I'm about to say. Anthem actually feels like there's a lot of you've probably heard this sentence before. It's like it's got a big ass it's like, what is it, like 1 mile of like sand, but it's like 1 inch deep or something like that. It's like you probably heard that sort of philosophy thing, like where you have a big ass like distance, but it's not really in depth. I feel like that's what Anthem is comparable to. Like it just feels empty. And what I mean by that is, first and foremost, the environment is really gorgeous looking, right? It's really beautiful, beautiful mountain, beautiful view, beautiful forest and stuff, but there's nothing to explore, there's nothing to do in that environment. It's just caves and buildings and places. The probably only place I've actually found it really interesting was the first, I believe, maybe the first or second, maybe, I don't know which ones of the missions from the beta, but there was one of those which you had to go inside of like this sort of big ass gigantic circle place, and from there you actually had to solve puzzles and get this sort of artifact out of there. But I feel like at the end of the day, these kind of environments are what makes this game unique, and if there's not enough of those, then the game is just not memorable. So at the end of the day, you're just running around, you're just doing your stuff, you're flying around, but you don't feel like the actual environment's got anything to tell you. The characters looked pretty good to me. That was not a concern for me. The characters themselves, I feel like they're not going to have a very in-depth story like telling, and that's what I've actually got as a feedback from a lot of people who I know personally have played the game. It feels like the characters are there, they have a story to tell, but it's not that really gorgeous BioWare storytelling that you're expecting from them. It's just a casual, okay storytelling. Now, where the other problem is, and where that was like probably the most and first and foremost concern for me, is when they said that there would be only 3 strongholds at launch. When I heard that, I was like, wait a minute, 3 strongholds at launch. The strongholds on hard difficulty, there is like the very hard master difficulty and the master whatever the hell second very hard difficulty, from which you can get like these like, you know, not legendary loot, but whatever, the epic loot, sort of, you know, the golden loot. So at the end of the day, the actual missions, there's only 3 of those. The strongholds, the mission that lasts about 30-40 minutes if you know what you're doing. If you're really bad, you're probably going to take it about an hour or so, maybe more. And if you're just really damn good and you're overpowered as hell, probably can rush it in between 20 to 20 something minutes. These missions have a boss at the end, and they're missions that actually really require team play and cooperation. Now, there's only 3. What do you do with 3 missions like those? Not much. A lot of people say, yeah, but there's, you know, different difficulties, and you can just adjust and make it so hard, and then it's just like, you know, it's challenging. Now, from those of you and my subscribers who have played the Division 1, you will reckon that in the first division, when it came out with these what do they call, like assault missions or invasions? I don't really remember the actual name, but there were like mini raids. If you were to put them on hard or something like that, they were not impossible, but near. They were extremely difficult, and the difficulty was not adapted at all, and was really not fun. So I actually am afraid, and I'm making this criticism not to point out a like a failure in the game or something, but that's just, to me, I'm afraid that it's not enjoyable. They just, you know, set the actual level of health to the enemies, and they're just almost not beatable, and you're punching bullets in them and it doesn't do shit. And at the end of the day, you're just, you know, keep on shooting, and it's just not enjoyable. You know, that's not a way to make an actual stronghold or mission itself. That's just not the right way to do it. You have, if you've, you know, been watching Destiny 1 or the raids or whatever the hell, or the Warcrafter, you have to do things that require cooperation, that makes each and every single one of those strongholds memorable, because you will have these little gameplay components that will require people to play together and to help out each other. And if you don't do that, then it's just, what's the point of even trying to do a stronghold at the end of the day? So that's my first concern. My second concern is, as I said, the end game. I feel like this game, to me, end game doesn't really matter. I'm not this big of a guy on the emphasis on doing stuff, you know, like it doesn't matter to me if you tell me, hey, you have to do strongholds, or you have to do just free play events, or you have to do these missions weekly. I don't really care. To me, it's cool, it's whatever. I'll just play them, I'll play them, and I'll enjoy them. So, you know, I don't really mind about them. Where it actually falls apart is the rewarding satisfying enough? If I'm going to play your game instead of anybody else's game and invest my time into it, is it actually going to be, you know, time well invested? Am I actually going to be enjoying this? Now, that's a big concern to me. And from what I've actually seen right now, I feel like the surface of the game looks really good, but there's not much into it, as I said earlier. So, therefore, I feel like the actual, you know, customization on, you know, on surface looks really cool. But I feel like the variant of a lot of armor will not be so great. I feel like the color pattern or the color palettes will not be very varied. So I feel like you'll have a game where you'll have to be grinding just to get either a bit of a better look or either better stats on your weapon. But at the end of the day, that's just not rewarding and satisfying. You know, it's like, I remember Destiny 1's raid, and I'm never going to compare it to Destiny 2 because that shit was just trash. But Destiny 1 had these amazing raids where every time you would complete it, you would get a loot that was specific to the raid, but not only just looked good, it looked freaking badass, and everybody could see your gear. Everybody know that you had the gear, and not only that, but everybody know that you had like accomplished the raid multiple times, because you had either the armor set, the headgear, the, you know, the whatever, the leg pieces whatsoever. So at the end of the day, people knew how experienced you were with the game. As it were, Anthem, from what I've seen so far, and I'm just, that again, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, but from what I'm seeing, and from what EA's been doing from the past freaking previous games they've been releasing, it's always the same thing. No in-game progression that's worth for me to play. No actual end-game, you know, overall content that's just enjoyable as much. Why? Because the games are either rushed, they're either not well planned, or EA just wants to grab your fucking money, and at the end of the day, they just, you know, they take it, and that's it. They don't freaking support the game. Now, again, they say that the game will have free content. let's rewrap that for a minute. Which game was supposed to have free content in the past 2-3 months, which actually had free content, but on a freaking so large, you know, like, base that it just didn't work out? Oh wait, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Yeah, that game reminds me of something. Star Wars Battlefront 2 had like, what, 4 characters and 1 or 2 maps in a year? That's awful. That's just fucking awful. I would have rather paid for my DLC at that point, like just to fucking be able to play that game. And then onto that, you have Battlefield 5, which has gotten, I will give credit to that, it's gotten a few weapons since its launch. If you've actually played it and been kept up to it, you will actually notice the game has a lot more gameplay than it had at launch. But nevertheless, it just doesn't, you know, it doesn't add up. Like, it's been almost 6 months now, and I mean 4 months now, the Battlefield 5 is launched, and the game is almost not supported still. There's a lot of issues. They have not added, like, you know, vehicle customization. They have not added the buddy revive system. It's just, and I'm not criticizing the developers. Big shout out to the developers. I know these guys are working hard. I know what it is to actually, you know, put your heart and, you know, your trust into the community and just go all into a game that you appreciate yourself and make it as good as you want it to be. The problem is always and will always remain the big ass company behind it, EA, who just rushes their game to make them releases faster. Now, I'm saying that, and I always used to buy EA games, always, because I knew that they either had quality that would appreciate somewhere and somehow. And I feel like Anthem has definitely got something really good for everybody. It's just, I'm at a point in gaming where I want to invest my money into something that will actually come up good at the end of the day. And if Anthem is not going to do that for me, and by that I mean, of course, the overall endgame rewarding system, I mean the overall compelling story, I mean the overall customization elements, I mean a lot of other factors, and if it just doesn't have even like good overall presentation, if the features are not there, if the loading screens are not fixed, if so many things just doesn't work out, it doesn't deserve my money at the end of the day. So to me, Anthem is a no for now. I'm just gonna wait at that point. I've got nothing to lose. I'm gonna wait on the reviews, wait on overall just people talking about the game. Maybe I'll just look into it with my friends. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, you should probably wait for this game to show EA there once again that they've messed up something and that their filthy hands are not to be messed around, because they just want money and nobody gives a shit about that anymore. So yeah, that's just my impression so far. As I'm making this video, you probably have, or maybe have played the game. You can put your own opinion in the comments. Let me know. I would really love to know if I'm actually wrong, if I'm right. Literally, if I'm just wrong, it'll just be the end of the day. It's alright. Like, I may have just done this video and you know, I just get dislikes everywhere and shit, and people be like, yeah, you're just wrong completely. There's so much endgame, the customization is insane, and you were basically wrong to even make this video in the first place on the very day before the game releases. So, you know, whatever. There again, if you like the video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. I'm honestly probably going to start doing videos like I'm doing right now, which is literally in one cut. Like, I have not cut it a single thing. I'm just talking and letting my impression go. If you feel like that's working, let me know. If you feel like that's not working, I'm probably just going to be more scripted or maybe cut a bit more. But I feel like when I'm talking like this and just openly discussing a topic, I feel like I've got a lot more interesting thing to say than when it just overall just becomes a overall, like, you know, cutting whatever the fuck, and it just doesn't work up. That's just not what I'm feeling like doing anymore on YouTube. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Anyways, guys, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like on it. If you did not, then drop a dislike at this point, as I said, probably a few times already. And that's pretty much it. I will see you guys in the next one. Probably we'll do a similar video on The Division 2, which I will discuss on another video where the topic is just really meh so far. So yeah, the two games I was looking forward to actually capture on this channel are not looking so great right now, and probably just gonna wait up on some better games. I've been playing Jump Force, and maybe what else has there been playing? I mean, I kind of want to play Metro 2, but yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys did enjoy this video, as I said again, drop a like. Why is this the third time I'm saying it? Fuck it. I love you guys. Peace out. I see you in the next one.
Roll down your pillow like a river, I'll be there for you. But you gotta be there for me too.